Welcome to a brand new episode of Pedagogical Horizons, the podcast brought to you by Eduten India, where we plunge into the most important conversations shaping education today. I'm your host, Geeta Gujral, and in this episode, titled The Future of Inclusive Education From Access to Belonging, we are taking a closer look at inclusivity in schools and classrooms. Ever wondered what it takes to create a learning space where every child feels recognized, valued, and empowered? Today, we are unpacking real challenges, fresh insights, and actionable solutions to make inclusion a reality in education. Join me on this journey to uncover what truly makes education effective and engaging. All right, viewers, get ready because today's guest, Miss Seema Das, is a game changer. Miss Seema Das, principal of Life Center Academy, New Delhi, is committed to educating underprivileged children with certifications in teaching methodologies and child development. She specializes in inclusive education and is passionate about supporting diverse learning needs. Her mission is to reintegrate out of school children by ensuring equal learning opportunities and bringing about social change through education. She was selected by Indian Talent Olympiad organization in the category of Best 1000 Principals of India. She strives to create a nurturing and enriching environment where every learner can thrive. Her insights on inclusivity in schools and classrooms are exactly what we need. Delighted to have you on the show, Miss Seema. Great to have you here. We're looking forward to gaining valuable insights from your experiences. So let's start. According to you, what do you think inclusivity in education truly means?
Thank you so much for having me here in the show. Inclusivity, it's very simple actually. It means all children, regardless of their, how they learn, their challenges, their background, they all learn together in the same classroom, sitting side by side. A lot of time we mistake it for integration, but if we look into our Indian education system, integration also means making all the children sit in the same classroom and teaching them. But how it is different from inclusivity is, whereas in the integration, you know, there the children, those who have, like a special needs or the neurodivergent children or those who come from challenging backgrounds, they are taught separately. Although they're part of the classroom, but then, teacher will put in
Yeah.
different efforts, like she'll
Mm.
have a different strategy to teach them, but they are part of the same large group.
Mhm.
How inclusivity is different is the curriculum is designed in such a way that nobody feels, no student in the classroom feels that, okay, this is my turn to learn. I'm telling it in a very practical way from the student's
Yes.
point of view. Now this is the turn to learn for this boy who has this
Mhm.
challenge. No. So they
Mhm.
kind of, it's an amalgamation, it's the confluence
Mhm.
of all the teaching methodologies in a way that the teaching is rendered and everyone absorbs at the same time from the same teacher simultaneously. It's not
Wonderfully put.
compartmentalizing. Okay, it's not compartmentalizing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wonderfully put and simply put. It's not so simple, but very simply put for the viewers to understand what it really means. Because there's so much talk happening about inclusivity. I think everybody needs to know what it really means. So, when we talk about inclusivity, how important is that for schools and classrooms? And what kind of school policies help in nurturing such inclusivity? Because since you're a leader, so I think you can throw some light on this.
Well, I tell you, when we talk about inclusivity, we have to understand one thing, which means there is a need. There is a section of children who are left behind, who are not part of your
Mhm.
system, who are
Yeah.
excluded. Because there are such children, you have the need to include them, isn't it? So
Mhm.
I think, first of all, to begin with, you have to set with the mindset. Every school have to invest into training their teachers, not just the teachers, but also the students. They should have a culture where
Yes.
everyone is invited, right?
Yes.
And so mindset, teacher training, these have to be the real focal points, like when we are even trying to go for inclusive education. Lot of lot of schools, or I would say most of the schools are struggling in this area, although we talk
Hmm.
about inclusive education,
Yes.
but it's a huge thing.
Yes.
And I think it has to start from
Yeah.
here, and then it goes out.
Agreed.
The yeah, so we work on the here at our school. We work with the teachers first on their mindset. There's a constant reminder,
Hmm.
in our daily staff, in our weekly staff meetings, in our daily talks. We are very particular about the kind of language we are
Hmm.
using
Hmm.
for our children.
Yeah.
It should not be something that is, that kind of, like when you're talking about so-called a normal or a neurotypical child,
Hmm.
um, we use a certain language, like in the world, and then the moment you talk about children who are, who have a, different kind of needs,
Yes.
our vocabulary changes.
Hmm.
And vocabulary changes
Yeah.
not just because the child is in need and we are addressing it, but also we have a mindset
Yes.
that doesn't, kind of look at them the way
Hmm.
we look at the other children. So I think
Well
we have
said.
to work there. Yes. So we work on the teachers, and I can say that, all of our children, sorry, all of our teachers, whenever they come in here, first, part of the training is to get to know the children.
Yeah.
And, but knowing the children is, I always tell them that you first have to spend time, do some activities, and find out what kind of learners do you think you
Yes.
have in your kitty. You cannot
Right.
just go and yeah, otherwise it is like a, random firing.
Yeah.
So
True. Yeah.
yeah, so they get to know and they have to get back to me, and they said, I think these are the, these many students and these are the names, and I think they are the kinesthetic learners, and these are the visual learners, and these are the
Yes.
auditory, like
Yes.
those kind of things, and then
Yes.
we have students actually who clearly have different needs,
Yes.
where we don't have to go for deeper assessments.
Yes.
Then we have to sit and strategize. There can't be a one blanket policy, actually,
Yeah.
because each child is different.
Right.
So if we have, say, about 10 students here in our school who need special like attention,
Yes.
we sit down with the, all the teachers. The respective teacher comes and sits with me, and then we make a plan for them
Right.
individually, that okay, this is how we are going to forward with this child, because we know that he or she has this area where she's different than the other
Right.
children. Yeah, so
Right.
this is how we do it here. I'm sure the other schools must be doing the same thing.
I'm sure if not, then they should be doing it because this is very important. Each child is important in the classroom. Each child needs attention. And I mean, it's for the educators
Absolutely.
to have a look at what's happening around. Like you said, first they have to sort of investigate. That's not the right word though. But yes, to find out who needs what and accordingly plan the menu. So it's like that.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, you talked about teachers creating inclusive learning environment. So how do they do that? Supposing they have, you've talked about a lot of, shift in mindsets. But when the teacher comes into the class, how do you think what strategy she should be using or she does use in your school to promote cultural and social inclusivity as well?
Okay, see, for a school like ours, who is, dedicated to bring transformation, into we call it the lowest strata of the society, because we are here catering to the children who come from the nearby slum.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
very important for us because most of our children are first generation learners, and, most of the families have migrated from the villages of Bihar and UP. So if you'll see the demography of our school, we have children coming, I think 80% or maybe more than 80% children come from these backgrounds.
Hmm.
And these children Because they're the first generation learner, they're from the migrant family, they're the first settlers, you can say that, in here in the
Yes.
city, first
Right.
generation. And then in this kind of a, when you go to the social, the level, if we
Yeah.
see a lot of male dominance. Well, it is there in every class, in our society or
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. It's not just about India.
Yeah.
um, so we also make sure that girls are included in
Yes.
everything. So we have programs, we have talks, with children,
Okay.
where, yeah, yes. So we have dedicated days where teachers spend time gauging into their lives of these students, male or female both. We
Mm-hmm.
conduct various activities,
Mm-hmm.
through with the help of the newspapers and the current affairs and all, and we
Yes.
help them see, right? If, the gender parity or the equality is being, followed by the parents, or they find it at home or not. uh, so, for example, once we did a small little exercise, because these are like an ongoing things. We don't make it a big thing, because
Ye-
it has to be a regular thing,
Yes.
not on just on the special days. So we asked, no, one day we did this activity where we asked our boys, uh, since they have the privilege of coming here and getting English, uh, medium
Learning.
education, they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
access to computers, they have access
Yes.
to vocational lab. So we asked them, where are their sisters? Which school do
Okay.
they go to? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And surprisingly, if you see most of their boys, like whom we talk to,
Mm-hmm.
their sisters were going to the local MCD school. I have no problems with that. Like I am not comparing my school with the MCD schools. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to making a choice,
Yes.
parents here, they would rather
Yes.
prefer, yeah, send their
Okay. Got it.
boy to yeah, school, and then
English
let the girl
medium.
be wherever. Yes, and let
Yeah.
the girl be wherever, where
Right.
it doesn't cost her. So, and then
Yeah.
we had a kind of a heart to heart conversation. So how it would be, how it would have been if she was also studying here,
Uh-huh.
you know.
So what were the
And
responses? What were the
oh well, I
responses?
I tell you, the response was overwhelming.
Wow.
And then we also did one, like where you also asked them, like, so we had like a different kind of a roles, the which are like very gender, like stereotypically assigned to male and, assigned to female.
Yeah.
We asked them, what do you see them? What do they see them as? Like,
Yes.
so they also
Yeah.
went by that stereotypical, way of
Yes.
this thing. And then we gave them example, right? Why a
Yeah.
bus driver or the pilot, a woman can also do that, and they are
Yeah.
that,
Right.
doing those kind of a thing. And then
Mhm.
also about the language, um, so like in our society, we often say when a boy is crying that, don't cry like a,
Ah.
girl,
Mm-hmm.
right? लड़की है क्या, like you're crying छोटी छोटी
Yeah.
सी बात पे, you show your emotions. And
Yeah.
so when we and then we made them see, look into it, that how,
Mm-hmm.
this is damaging, or further
Mm-hmm.
strengthening a typical stereotypical image of a girl, that what she
Yes.
can or she cannot do, how she
Yes.
should be and how she should not be treated. And you will not believe, one of the boys who's a very bright student of ours in
Mm-hmm.
class 7, he
Mm-hmm.
stood up and he said, uh, that I think a day before, he called a boy in our school the same thing, that he was behaving like a girl
Okay.
when he had started crying. So I said,
Okay.
"Ma'am, did I do the wrong thing?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I said, "Yeah, I will not do it again." So I think
Yeah.
these are small little things that we can, because education, when we see, how we see is, it's not, of course, it's a very big thing, but it's a small little things that make that big thing. And it all starts
Yes.
with mindset. It
Y-
starts with your language. It starts with how you're dealing with them. And of course,
Yes.
when it comes to school policies, we have a lot of things, for do's and don'ts for the
Yeah.
teachers, for students, and it's, what they should be speaking, especially, how they should
Hmm.
be treating. the
Yes.
opposite gender. The same goes for the girls as well,
Yes.
not
Yes.
just the
Yes.
boys. But when you're
Mm,
talking about the parity, it has to be both the sides.
yes.
So yeah,
So you're doing a good job.
that's
Small steps leading to somewhere, and they do. Every small step counts. Every small step counts. And like you said, it starts from here, from the mindset, and it has to be done with the heart. I feel everything has to be done passionately, not for the sake of really just doing it, because you have to really do it. I think that's how it
absolutely.
should be. That's how it should be. So coming to the barriers, you've talked about a lot of barriers. So how do you include communities and parents into all this that you are doing? Because you're doing a lot. You may say it's, little, but little by little, it's a lot that you're doing. So how do you include the parents? Do you do some orientations for them? How do you include communities? Because when I visited your school, I realized you're doing a lot more in the evenings as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very important. As I told you, most of our students are first generation learners, which also means that the parents are, most of them are not literate.
Yes.
And 80% of my parents, or maybe 70% of my parents, are those who either do not have much dreams for their children, or they don't know what their children will become. So they don't have anything, right? So they don't have any expectations. But 30% of them are, thankfully, those who wish to see their children become something in life.
That's good to
Okay.
know. That's good to
And
know.
yes, yeah, it's for us, it's an achievement, because then we know
Yes.
that we have partners who we can work with.
Yes.
But in the 70%, we find ourselves, like kind of battling alone sometimes. So they
Hmm.
somehow, so sometimes I use while talking to them, for us, counseling is an ongoing process. It is
Yes.
not done just on PTMs or during the
Yes.
PTA Mahasabha. We do it almost every day. Yesterday also,
Hmm.
I was with children. Oh, sorry, I was with parents. Day before also, there were three sets of parents. As and when we get to see that a child is struggling because of the non-cooperation of the parent, or
Yes.
because parents are using certain language which is damaging,
Yes.
because uh, it's lot of trauma, the emotional, and
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
trauma comes from families.
I
It comes from
agree.
the family.
I
So
agree.
when they come to us, they, like, we try to kind of reestablish those values, in them
Yeah.
every day. And
Hmm.
we believe that, that when they are leaving the school, these remain, their confidence, their value system, and their self-esteem, their faith in themselves and their abilities. But once they go to back to homes, they receive the, like, most of the time, the same kind of negativity, kuch nahi kar
Hmm.
sakta, kya hoga, all those kind of stuff,
Yeah.
zyada
Right.
mat ban, there are parents who have not allowed their children to participate in debates.
You
I
did
found no
mention.
reason why.
Yes, you did
Yeah.
mention once. I mean, but there was a success story. Can you just talk about it a little bit about that Nukkad
I
Natak that you did? I mean, I still remember that. Could you just tell us something
Hi.
about that? How you go about dealing with something like this?
Yes. So the child was very sad actually, because we were, for the very first time, December 2024, our children participated in MUN. It was an all India level MUN, and it was an online MUN. It needed a lot of practice and a lot of research and a lot of training. And since we were participating for the very first time, I wanted to train each child myself, and there is a particular boy who is very bright. He is very bright, and I wanted him to participate in this. Not just that I didn't want others to participate, but
Got
I
it.
knew
Got it.
that, he wanted to be there. And
Yes.
I tried convincing his parents, but they just refused. I just could not fathom the reason. They said, then ultimately later on, when I talked to him, I said, Daddy said that, um, uh, padhai pe focus karo, just focus on padhai. All these are, like uh, not worth, spending your time and this thing. Our money, I said, we are sponsoring it,
Yes. Yes.
But then, this child could not participate. That was very sad. And so that kind of gave me, like, why not we reach out through Nukkad Natak? And then
Yes.
during our annual day, we created we have a kind of a play fest, where we um, present 4 plays, like by different groups of students on different
Yes.
topics. So
You did mention. You
in
did mention.
yeah, yeah. So then we created we wrote down the script around his story,
Uh-huh.
that how one child and the teacher wanted to the child to participate, and what could have happened if the child would have participated. We projected that in that story. That child then, with the help of the training and all those kind of stuff, and then, in the nataks and the stories, there is always happy ending, but it
Yes.
doesn't happen so in the real life. But i I believe, when this particular play was presented on stage, it not only would have spoken to all the other parents who were seated there, but especially to the guardian of the child,
Yes.
that, yeah, there was a possibility that my child missed. And I did not see the other side of the story, because in my limited knowledge and wisdom, so we can only hope, till we have
Yes.
the next opportunity for him to
Yes.
participate and
Yes.
see if he is allowed or not. But these are strange things,
Yes.
right? I
But I tell
mean,
you something, Seema, the way you've taken it up, there was some incident that has happened. Rather than, banging on that, you found a way out to present it to many more who might be thinking like that. But maybe after, watching that Nukkar Natak, they may change their mindset. Like we talked about, shifting of mindsets. Mindset is very, very important. You have to actually embrace inclusivity from all sides, be it parents, community, teachers. I mean, you as a leader, I mean, taking it to that ground level, I think you all are doing a lot. And I think I was also moved when I heard this story from you. It's a success story. Whatever, one child may not have been able to participate, but yet you took it forward. I mean, you just did not shut the can and say, okay, I mean, this didn't happen, but you looked at many more. And there will be children, I'm sure, who will now want to participate, and there'll be parents who will want to let them go and do it. Holistic
yeah,
development they talk about. So I think you're
yes.
already doing a lot, Seema. And I think the last thing that I would want to ask you is, do you think technology makes any difference to the inclusivity that you talk about? Do you use technology somehow? I mean, because children, I saw children are using computers at your school. So is it somewhere connected to inclusivity? Does it help, or how does it go?
Absolutely. I think technology is the way forward. I tell you why. Imagine a teacher with like 25 students. Okay. In India, it is usually not 25 students. It may
Yeah.
be 40 students, and in the
Yes.
the larger school, it could be even 60 students. Imagine, even the neurotypical children. They don't all learn at the same pace.
Yes.
Okay, and the same way. Forget about
Right.
the neurodivergent children, right?
Hmm.
For a teacher to create, a lesson plan in such a way, and each lesson plan in such a way that caters to all different children at the same time, who are at the different point of, the learning spectrum,
Yes.
and make it successful. I think this is, this is like expecting way too much from a single teacher. Okay, and to expect her to keep doing it in every class, like maybe one topic, two topics, but then how is it humanly possible to keep delivering? This is where
Hmm.
technology helps.
Yes.
Differentiated teaching, learning, right?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
what technology does. So Eduten has been, that's one of the main reasons why, because I have seen my students struggling, mainly because of, I shared, I always shared, last time also shared, because of the kind of background they come from, where there
Right.
is lack of nutrition,
Yes.
so their cognitive abilities will be different than the ones
Yes.
who have like enough in life.
Yes. Yes.
So then I thought, and expecting them to deliver the same results and go and get integrated later on into the mainstream, and compete with them,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
little unfair. It is
Yeah.
maybe sound like equality, but it's not equity. So, and then
Yes.
how do we give them that, how do we catapult them,
Yes.
So this AI based, that mathematic learning, it's a practice platform by
Yes.
Eduten. It has
Yes.
come really, really, handy, because now my teacher, she is kind of a co-teaching with the technology. So one
Yeah.
is my teacher in the classroom, and the other one is the Eduten. So what happens is, because it has the ability, it's based on algorithm, and because it has a differentiated, learning, facility,
Yes.
each child can learn, practice at his or her own pace. It
Right.
does not add frustration to the teacher.
Y-
Teacher works as a facilitator.
Yes.
She has done her work in the classroom by teaching the concept. Now, when it comes to, imagine, now she has to make, after teaching, we have to make worksheets, right, for students
Yes.
to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine if in a classroom, if there are children, even if we broadly categorize them, like,
Yes.
okay, this is ye wala spectrum ka, these many children are
Yes.
there, we'll still
Yes.
have at least 10 groups. So you
Yes.
cannot make ten worksheets for one single chapter every time.
Right.
But this platform does it. It can make even 25 for 25 students. That's the beauty of this platform. And I think in the days to come, because it's a practice platform, I would uh, definitely want, AI to also get into active teaching, as a co-teacher, because right now it is helping us to practice, but it
Yes.
should also involve into, teaching,
Yeah.
where
Time is not far. Seema, time is not far. It's going to hop in
yeah.
any time.
Yes,
So,
and this is maths, and I would love to see it in the language area, because
yes.
that is going to help a lot, especially the children who suffer from, dyslexia and all, and they find it
Yes.
difficult to,
They will
although,
have the
the
comfort zone.
struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll have the comfort
Yes,
zone. They'll have the comfort zone.
yes. Although, till that happens, well, I believe it is not very far, we are trying our best with whatever we have. We have Eduten, and we have many other actually ways, like for children who are taking time to learn, we have something called progressive learning system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the challenges that every educator will talk about when it comes to inclusive education is
Mm-hmm.
the area of assessment and evaluation, and
Agreed.
the rigidity of curriculum, right?
Agreed.
How curriculums are so straight jacketed, and then you expect teachers to somehow navigate through it and make it inclusive, right? And but there are like ways that can be, I hope, like all the educators, their inputs, their platform, there should be a platform
Yes.
where they keep discussing their ideas, and we keep
Yes.
reforming it, keep sharing with each other.
Yes.
But the rigidity of curriculum, so how we do it, because till they are in, because we are in elementary school, we don't have to really worry about the boards. So we have different, children who are struggling, they
Yes.
sit in the same classroom, they sit the same thing, but they learn the same thing, but their some of the books are designed in a way that
Mm-hmm.
helps them to keep going back to the concept that they are struggling with. So once you have
Ah.
your next visit, I would like to show you how we do it.
Love to
And
see
for
that.
that,
Love to see that. Love to
yes,
see that.
yeah. So we last year we had about 21 identified students who were
Okay.
struggling.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to language building, and they are greatly benefited with this approach. And in future, I hope, we have more platforms like Editen, where language has been taken up,
It is
as
important. It is important actually, because this is the need of the hour, and like I said, I mean, you can see it there happening, and it should just come into the schools very soon. I mean, because the children need it. It's the need.
yeah, yes,
It's the need.
yes. And when it comes to assessment and evaluation for these children, we have a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
So because we know these children, they need support. They had our students mainly because of I shared with you the reason, and also because they are the late starters, right? So by the
Yes.
time they come to me, they're already 8 years, and then they don't have any there is no foundation being built. So I have to really, teach them in a way that doesn't that builds the foundation, but it doesn't take that long. So we have to fast track also. So we need to know where to fast track
Yes.
and where to take it slow, so that it is the child is able to get integrated into the so-called normal classroom with the other students of his age. So
I
yeah, so
yeah.
that is one.
So I also want to say, Seema, you've said so much, but I know there is so much more that needs to be communicated to the society, to the educators, to all stakeholders. But this time is short, and we cannot really uh, hear you doing so much. But we know you're already doing there. So I think what you've said, if it's taken well, and we all step up to look at inclusivity not just as a concept but as commitment to making education accessible and meaningful for every learner. Like we just said, small changes can lead to a big impact. So I feel, we all should work towards a future where no child is left behind. Inclusivity starts with all of us, from head to heart and
Absolutely.
with hands. And I think what you talked about, the forums being there should be forums where educators can discuss and have some kind of a thing roll out which helps everybody. So I think that's also a very good suggestion made from your end. A big thank you to you, Miss Seema, for sharing your time and wisdom with us. Your insights were inspiring, and we loved having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, in the show.
If you found this conversation valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join us next time for more insights on education. Together, we can create learning spaces where every child thrives. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, let's keep learning, growing, and creating inclusive spaces for all.